This is the GJRB Online Network. Now, GJRB presents the Gary Russen program, the original news talk program. Call Gary Russen right now on the Skype line at gary.russen or contact him on the GJRB chat room by clicking the balloon icon on the GJRB Spreaker widget on the Spreaker public site and on Twitter. Now, the Gary Russen program. And hello everyone, hello everywhere across America and around the world from Clinton, Iowa's North End, just above the shopping district, Lion Shopping District. Here in Clinton, Iowa, welcome aboard the Gary Russen program, Freestyle Friday edition. We haven't had this show on in quite some time. I think it's been about a month, something like that. And that's because I'm trying to circulate my programming a little bit. I've been working on this for quite some time. A scheduled project that'll work. As you will know, I just deleted the last schedule update podcast because it was too confusing. So I decided to do something a little different, and that is go back to the original schedule plan. And what I'm doing now is I'm going to continue to do freestyle. I'm going to continue to do spontaneous broadcasting until we fill up that time slot. Now, I've already made time slots for about 4 or 5 shows, because all the other shows that we had in their time slots are going back there. The jazz is going to go back to its time slot. Crooners and radio, television, movie classics is going back to its time slot. And all the other programs remaining in their time slots, like the last 7 days and way out there, the third week. The second week, of course, is nostalgia, and the final week we just kind of filling in blank spaces, and that's all the programs in their original schedule, plus spontaneous broadcasting to kind of fit in shows that aren't scheduled yet. So I'm working on that. And when I go now, we've been discussing. My wife and I have been discussing. We're going to get the 3-hour plan. I'm going to be watching for for another discount. When a discount comes up, we should be getting it. Now, our pastor at our church might be helping with this, maybe. Possibility. We could throw in maybe the whole amount for a whole year, which would be kind of nice to have a year where I'll have to worry about, money coming out of the account for the broadcast plan. So I'm hoping that maybe perhaps we can get going on this 3-hour plan, because once we get that 3-hour plan going, it's going to be where I'll be able to have this station on this network on the air every day with continuous programming, and be able to do different things with this show, with all my other shows, and be able to sit down and do some tweaking and scheduling and all this stuff to come up with a programming that will keep this station going at least a good part of the day. Now, there'll be some days where we're going to be off the air so that I can work on production. As I told you before, this is also a production studio as well as an acting master control. So a lot of times we might not always be on the air every day, but we're going to try to be on every day as much as possible. It just depends on the timing. It depends on a lot of things. So, basically just trying to be able to get programs together and just trying to figure out all this stuff to see how it's all going to work together to make this a pretty cool station. And it's going to be where, we'll be having programming. Now, you'll see, like I said before, you'll see what they call GJRB programming. That's generic. That means that's a conglomeration of programs that have been on GJRB Online. They're mostly going to be encore presentations of previous shows, and they'll run on certain days. And aside from all that, I'm going to be working on different time slots for different shows. And I'm hoping that maybe we can get this station on some days as early as 8 o'clock in the morning and run all day long. But like I said before, it depends on how things go then, because, like I said before, I'm going to have more hours of storage. Okay, I think I get, 500 hours? I think it's something like that. I'll have to look. But I'll be able to have this station going constantly. At least a good chunk of the day. I don't know what that's going to do to the computer memory. Maybe I ought to think about getting some more memory on this before I even plan that. But I'm going to at least try to get, limited time. Now, as I told you before, learning from the days of radio when I first started doing this stuff, our station back home in Ambridge, Pennsylvania was WNBA, and they used to stay on the air. They used to be a daytime station. They had a daytime license, which means they went off the air at sundown. Now, we'd probably be doing something like that once in a while. We're going to just be on the air for daytime only and shut down at in the winter it's about 5 o'clock, 4:30, 5 o'clock. In the spring, it's you get down to fall right now, and you get down to 7:30, 8 o'clock, 7:30, 6:30, 6 o'clock, sign-off times. And there'll be times we're going to do that. But basically, I'm going to try to keep this station going as much as possible. But how you been doing? I've been doing okay. There's days I get my little frustrations out, and I don't mean to talk about that coming up. Just a lot of things, trying to get programming on this radio station and dealing with other things at the same time. And that's, my dear wife's health, which is kind of a thing that, she had to go to the store. She's getting some things, so I don't know. I might have to help in the situation here. So if you hear a fleet of maybe 4 or 5 songs, I'll probably be away from the board a little bit. So I don't know how that's going to work out today. So I'll just do a Freestyle Friday today. And if I have to take a break, I will probably play some, maybe 4 or 5 songs from our rotation. And, do that so that I can help her if I need to, but she said she'd be all right. So we're gonna deal with, and what do you think about all this stuff going on? They're still picking on Trump. They'll never quit. The liberal front is always going to pick on Trump, calling him a racist and everything. We got that still going on, and a bunch of other stuff. We'll be doing a lot of talking about this afternoon. We've got a lot really going to go. So why don't we get started with the news? As you will know, the news and comment throughout the program, because this is GJRB's original news talk program, the Gary Russen program, right here on GJRB Online on Spreaker. And glad you could be aboard today. And glad you could be listening to the program. Love to hear from you if you are out there. But right now, let's get started with some news. President Trump's tariffs on China is headlining the hour's news this hour. And again, next hour, we're talking about this today because this is interesting. China's not going to stand for it. And they're saying that there's serious violations on this. Serious violations. Get more in the story now from Simon Owen.
Not to be blackmailed and will retaliate if President Trump goes ahead with another round of tariffs. A foreign ministry spokesperson saying we will not give an inch on major issues and accusing President Trump of violating a deal with his Chinese counterpart to negotiate on trade tensions. The president says he'll impose a 10% tariff next month on the final $300 billion of Chinese imports that aren't already subject to additional duty.
And so far, I guess this is affecting and hitting the stock market real hard. Chinese Foreign Ministry stated that Trump's move is serious And they say that the Beijing would have to take necessary countermeasures if the tariffs were imposed. According to Hua, H-U-A, Hua, who was briefing on Friday, stating that we don't want to fight, but we're not afraid to fight. China would not succeed in extreme measure and intimidation and blackmail. Chinese shares have plummeted, and the yen and its currency fell to its lowest point since November's early trading. And so, Trump maybe is not thinking about the situation, does not thinking about this clearly, and what this is doing to the stock market. We'll take a look at the stock market coming up this hour. Don't have that ready, but I will look at the stock market coming up a little later on. Meanwhile, in other news, did you hear about this story? This is a sad situation. The administrative judge on Friday is recommending to fire the New York City police officer who was accused of chokehold in the 2014 death of an unarmed black man. And according to that story, and I have that here. Let's see, where is that? I know I still have it up here. The judge saying that I can't. He said that the dying man said, "I can't breathe," because in a rally cry. So what they're saying now is that this could turn into another civil rights case. I just had this feeling of this. This is going to get really, 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 really scary now, because this cop was convicted. He was arrested for the death of that black man, and that story flipped out on me. So I'm going to see if I can get it back. Oh yeah, here we go. Let's see. I think there's an audio story to this. I don't know if it's going to get sticky, but we'll try it. Mayor de Blasio said the judge's report is a step toward justice and accountability. And there's no audio report on this, just music, so I'm just going to read it. Today, for the first time, and this is a quote from de Blasio, today, for the first time in along 5 years, the system of justice is working. He continues on, I hope this will now bring the Gardner family a sense of closure and the beginning of some peace, unquote. Gardner's mother, Gwen Carr, said that the judge's report brought her some relief, but this was overdue and fell short of true accountability. So, again, this is, they're holding... they still want to hold the New York people accountable for this. It's past time for Mayor Bill de Blasio and the New York Police Department to end their obstruction, stop spreading misleading talking points, and finally take action for her son. That's what she says in the statement. Gardner's death came at a time of a growing public outcry over the police killings of unarmed black men, which sparked the national Black Lives Matter movement. Just weeks later, protests erupted in Ferguson, Missouri, over the fatal shooting of an unarmed teenage Michael Brown. So this is, you got to wonder if this is going to continue to escalate. And you got to wonder if this is going to also start off as stuff with Black Lives Matters. Because, see, Black Lives Matters is not going to quit. Okay, they're going to keep on pulling this. They're going to keep on causing problems here. So very well that this isn't over. They're going to make sure that in New York Police Department, I'm sure their officers, and a lot of them, I can guarantee you, are probably protected. Oh, you better believe it. These guys are probably protected to the highest degree, and you can about bet that this isn't over yet as far as this shooting's concerned. They're not going to play games, this could escalate, and if it were to, this police officer could get off. But if they're taking safety precautions, that's why I think this is why they're prosecuting this guy. Because they're not going to play games here. Because if they were to let him go, there would be such a riot in New York City. It would be incredible. Because Black Lives Matter will definitely go out there, and it would be chaos. So they're not going to play this game of letting this guy go. It's not going to happen. They're going to prosecute, and so now this police officer's life is done. As far as his career is done, he's going to spend a lot of time in prison. And again, our police officers are getting a bad name from cops like this. Okay? Because a lot of times now, no one wants to trust the police in certain communities. Because the cops will, they get rough. They get real rough. And they're not going to, and this could change probably some things with the police department. There's going to probably be more stringent rules, I guess, as far as how they can make arrests and how rough they can get. I wonder if that's going to change things. Really. Because that's it's sad state of affairs when the police department is under fire for roughhousing like that to a point of choking a black man. And that, I think that's that's gonna escalate into far worse situation. I just had this fear that what's going to happen now is they're going to look at this and say, well, guys, you're police officers, you have to uphold the law, but how rough are you going to get when you arrest somebody? And how rough are you going to be? And then this whole race card issue keeps coming up. And this is how criminals get away with criminal acts, because they will pull the race card, especially the black community. Really, that's what happens. And we're going to talk more about that this afternoon. And tomorrow we are not going to be on the air. I have a birthday party to go to, my grandson's birthday party. So there is not going to be a Gary Russen program Saturday Extra tomorrow, but we're going to do it next week. Matter of fact, I'll be on the air again next week for another Gary Russen program Saturday Extra. We're going to do another show next week. And I will give you the next Saturday, right? And then right after that's over, then I'm going, because like I told you before, the Saturday Extra is going to be on the air every week, no matter what, even during music weekends. Because what I'm going to probably do eventually down the line is I'm going to sit down and voice track a lot of my music shows, so that I can do a number of shows in a day. So that's the whole idea. That's what I'm trying to do. So that
of tipping. Okay. Saying that tipping is actually a vestige of slavery.
Okay. So I was doing some stuff there. Okay. What was I saying? Oh yeah. So that I can have numerous programs on in a day. And I've been doing it to a point where I've had one show at a time. And that is why I'm having trouble scheduling, because I don't have the right amount of shows in a certain order according to genre. And I'm trying to work that in so that I can have more shows. Now, the music weekends, a lot of time is going to preempt Gary Russen program Saturday Extras. Because some Saturdays I do the Best of Jazz live. So it's going to alternate that way, in which I will do the jazz program live, but then I'm going to have some shows that are going to be, I'm going to take, now next Saturday, now remember, we haven't done jazz since June 7th. So with that in mind, I'm going to repeat the last Best of Jazz next Saturday. I'm going to upload it as a public podcast, but it will play on my 9-foot FM signal here locally. But it's going to be uploaded as a podcast. So it will be uploaded, and it will be scheduled to upload just before I finish up my that show on Saturday, the Saturday Extra. So like it'll upload like about 5:55 Central Daylight Time. And it'll be ready to go. And it'll be all one show. It's going to all be spliced together into one show to look like it's on the 3-hour plan. This way, I might get more audience. I want to see what kind of audience I get when the show is one big show without having to flip. It'll look like that. It'll be edited that way. Except for the weather. Weather's going to be taken out. And any time checks and any time-sensitive material gets taken out. And before I put it up. So it gets edited quite a bit. It gets clipped pretty good. It's just going to get clipped. So be aware of that. Okay? I'm going to be doing that. It's going to get clipped. So that all time-sensitive material, including weather, is taken out. And this way the program can repeat. So it's just going to be like a voice track show. And I think this is the way to do it. I really do. I think this is the way to do it. It's going to work out. I really think that's going to be pretty cool. And I'll be starting that up starting next Saturday as I play around with the schedule. I'm just going to be doing, like I said before, this is one big jigsaw puzzle I'm working on. And that is the schedule. It's going to be one big jigsaw puzzle. I'm going to be working on it every day. I'm going to be getting, I'm going to be working on getting the puzzle together and seeing how all the little pieces will fit. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, that's how that's going to go. And I think it's going to be pretty cool once it's done. Once I get like a really good schedule fired up, and because it takes a long time to sit there and try to juggle at least 21 programs at least that I'm deciding to keep in the schedule. And it gets complicated. It does. It just, man. I have to work on it. And it's going to be something that's going to be fun to do, but it's going to be hard too. It's going to be really complicated. So I'm really hoping that we can get this going, because I've had too many schedules. I went through too many schedule projects, and none of them work. And it's getting to a point where I'm saying it's time to do something different. And it's time to, change things a little bit. And that's what I'm doing. It has to be. So right now, I think it's time to do a little bit of weather on the fives. What do you think? Weather on the fives? Let's do it. And taking a look at some of the weather. Very interesting weather situation going on. As you will know, we've been having some real interesting weather. And let's see here. This is weather up here. Especially for people in the south. And I know a lot of you people in the south are getting some interesting weather. Moisture and thunderstorms are being heightened, enhancing on a few additional thunderstorms. Flash flooding in the south and in southern Nebraska, actually. Southern Nebraska to northeastern Oklahoma through tonight. There's also a tropical cyclone, Eric, in the Pacific now, passing just south of Hawaii. I saw that the other day. It's a pretty huge storm. And it's going to bring threat to heavy rain, high surf, and some gusty winds, especially in the Big Island. So if you are like in Hawaii and that, look out, man. It's going to get pretty nasty for you guys. So we'll keep taking a look at that. We're going to follow that tropical storm with Weather Nation next hour. So we'll keep on top of that. Weather on the 5s, 25 and 55 past the hour in all talk shows, 25 and 45 in all music shows on GJRB Online. Thank you so much for tuning in. You're listening to the Gary Russen program here on GJRB Online, here on Spreaker. And always glad to, talk to you folks today. And, I like talking, and we're going to play music too. Kind of a mixture. When we do our Freestyle Fridays, it's a laid-back show. It's open. It's wide open. It's freestyle. It's fly at the seat of my pants. It's whatever happens. Where does it take us? That's the whole idea. And that's what we do here on Fridays. It's free-for-all. Kind of like Rush Limbaugh does his... kind of like Rush Limbaugh does his Open Line Friday. Kind of like that. We just kind of don't think so tight kind of thing. Kind of like that, basically. We're not tight on the schedule. We don't, it's like that. So basically, it's that kind of idea. Alrighty? And thank you so much for joining me, the Gary Russen program, and here on GJRB Online. And we've got some really good stuff coming up. So I hope you'll stay with me here on GJRB Online, here on Spreaker. And we're going to get ready to do a news update. And then come back on the other side of the break. I got some more stuff to talk about. Got some more interesting things going on. Some more news. As you will know, this is GJRB's original news talk program, the Gary Russen program on GJRB Online, Freestyle Friday edition. And that means anything can happen, and it usually does. Yeah, it usually does. We have an interesting show always, and you never know who might pass by in the chat room. We've had people in the chat room and before, and it's been kind of fun. Ed Delgado will stop in, and maybe even some of our fabulous podcasters like Bob Huber. You never know. It just, surprises do happen on this program. It's just that simple. Let's take a look at some of the news stories we're covering for you in the GJRB newsroom. And here's some of the stories we're bringing you. President Trump's tariffs are making China a little mad. They're not happy. They're not going to stand for they're saying it's a serious violation. An administrative judge on Friday stated that the New York City's police officer accused of chokeholding a black man in 2014, an unarmed black man, will go to prison. The stock market report will get into that. And we'll follow what's going on in the national headlines as well as stories develop from the GJRB News Desk. I'm Gary J. Russen.